Ever wonder what happens inside an industrial boiler? These massive machines are the backbone of industries like power plants, oil refineries, and chemical production. But how do they actually work? In this video, we'll break down the process, explain different boiler types, and take you through what really happens inside an industrial boiler. First, let's start with the basics. There are two main types of boilers: fire tube and water tube. In a fire tube boiler, the furnace burns fuel, creating hot gases that flow through tubes surrounded by water. As the gases pass through, they transfer heat to the water, producing steam. This type of boiler is simpler but isn't great for high-pressure or large-scale operations because it can't handle the stress. Water tube boilers. On the other hand, in a water tube boiler, it's the water that flows through the tubes, and the heat is applied externally. This design allows water tube boilers to handle higher pressures, which is why you'll often find them in power plants and other large industrial applications. Now let's dive into how these systems work. The process starts with the feed water passing through an economizer. This clever little device recycles heat from the exhaust gases to preheat the water before it even enters the boiler. This not only boosts efficiency, but also helps prevent corrosion. Once the feed water is preheated, it moves into the steam drum, flowing down to the mud drum and through water wall tubes that line the combustion chamber. These tubes soak up the intense heat from the combustion gases, heating the water inside. As the water heats up, it turns into steam, but it's often mixed with water at first. Inside the steam drum, the steam is separated from the water, and to make sure it's completely dry, it passes through cyclone separators to remove any leftover moisture. Managing impurities. Of course, over time, impurities can build up in the water. These impurities collect in the mud drum, and if left unchecked, they can cause problems. That's where the blowdown process comes in. It removes some of the water with the highest concentration of impurities to keep the system running smoothly. Superheating steam. In many industries, steam needs to be superheated before it's used. Superheaters come into play here, raising the temperature and ensuring the steam is completely dry. And if the steam gets too hot, a de-superheater can spray water into the steam to bring the temperature down to a safe level. Once the steam is at the right temperature, it enters the high-pressure section of the turbine. As the steam expands, it drives the turbine blades, generating mechanical energy. The steam then passes through a reheater and continues to the intermediate and low-pressure sections of the turbine. Finally, all that rotational energy from the turbine is transferred to an electric generator, producing the electricity that powers everything from factories to cities.